This adorable Macintosh SE30 was a real powerhouse back in 1989. It was cute, reliable, and perfect, just the way it was. Which is why today we're going to perform gratuitous modifications. We're tormenting old computers, so stay tuned. And if you enjoy the totally reasonable pursuit of peak performance from vintage computers, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. Now, I'm not doing this today because I have a penchant for abusing old computers. I mean, I do have that. But today, I have a very specific goal in mind. I want to use this compact Mac as the centerpiece of my classic Mac development battle station. This thing is surprisingly upgradable. It has internal SCSI for a hard disk, and with some ROM tinkering, it can take up to 128 megs of RAM. The Mac SE30 has an incredibly crisp 9-inch monochrome black and white display with a resolution of 512 by 342, and who could ever want more than that? Well, me, for programming purposes. I have a Radius Pivot graphics card in here, which supports an external display. It's built for a pivoting display that we showcased on this channel before, but I'm not going to use it for that. Oh yeah, look at this glorious Sun Microsystems 20.1-inch LCD monitor. This thing just looks incredible, and I think it really kind of matches the SE30, but I'm going to take it a step even further than that. Oh yeah, now this is a battle station. Now the internal Radius video card is providing video out to this color display, but this Supermax SuperView SCSI external video card, well, that's outputting the video to here. This video card is very slow, so outputting black and white text is a pretty decent task for it, especially if we're just using it to edit code. Oh my god, it's glorious. Okay, now let me show you the rather silly game that I've been working on that kind of pushed me into making this build. Welcome to Squirrel Simulator, which is a totally not at all serious thing that I'm just building as kind of a toy because I wanted to get back into the swing of writing code on old computers, and I thought building out a very silly and simplistic incremental game, which I love incremental games, would be a good reintroduction. And having a setup like this will allow me to test it in all different scenarios, like on a big color display or on a compact Mac's 1-bit black and white screen, which I already found a problem that way. The forage button is not visible, it's solid black on here. So this is going to be great. Main window, coding screen, and compact Mac screen to test. The only problem is, well, this computer is pretty darn slow. If I try to open up other applications like iCab, well, yeah, we are slowed down to a crawl. This 16 megahertz CPU is really holding this machine back. Good thing I have a brand new custom built 50 megahertz 68030 upgrade. Plus, I want to get rid of this questionable 35-year-old power supply and replace it with a brand new solution from Deku Nukem. Yeah, this is going to be one freaking hot-rodded Mac SE30. And if I'm going to set up a permanent 90s developer battle station, yeah, that's not going to cut it. Good thing today's sponsor is FlexiSpot. This is the FlexiSpot E7 Pro Premium Standing Desk, and it is a beast of a desk. It supports up to 440 pounds, more than enough for a whole heap of 90s computers and CRTs. Rock solid stable, built with thickened legs and automotive grade steel. It's sturdy even at the highest level. And even with the immense weight of a 90s computer and CRT and miscellaneous stuff on it, it goes up and down super smooth. And since I'm literally going to be working at this desk using old tech, having a smooth, wide height adjustment is a huge plus. Using a standing desk is so much better than slouching in a chair for hours. It's better for your posture, your blood flow, neck pain, back stress. Once you're on Team Standing Desk, you'll never want to go back. Look at it, effortlessly pushing this radius pivot monster monitor up into the air. The E7 Pro looks great too, with a wide range of customizations available. Make sure to check out the link in my description and my promo code for a great deal on this FlexiSpot E7 Pro standing desk. All right, let's tally up all the different things we're going to do to this poor SE30 today, starting with a RAM upgrade that should bring us up to 128 megabytes. We're going to use this special Garrett's Workshop ROM sim, which has actually 2 versions of macOS Classic baked into it, as well as helpfully bypassing the RAM check, so our 128 megs doesn't take forever to boot. We have our aforementioned 50 megahertz 68030 upgrade. I have an optional FPU to add into it. I have this very nifty power supply replacement, which is going to let us power the SE30 off of a nice, reliable, modern brick. And to top it all off, I do have a recap kit because I'm actually not sure if this SE30 has ever been recapped. Hey, well, what do you know? This has been recapped already. All of these little yellow tantalum capacitors here, those are fresh and new. This kind of looks like the handiwork of a certain Mac 84. All right. Let's put together this nice Deku Nukem kit, and this does look pretty nice and easy to assemble. We just have a switch that'll come out the back, some nice plates to fit in with the SE30, and just a little board here with some fuses and holders. All right, let's smoke test this thing. I have an off-the-shelf Pico ATX power supply, which we'll plug in here. And then I'm going to plug in this fan to the fan header here. So if we flick the switch and the fan starts spinning, we've done this correctly. Hey, the fan's on. All right. Now let's remove this original Sony power supply from the analog board. And then our new power supply mounts right here. How frickin' convenient is that? Now let's take a look at this ROM sim because there is more than meets the eye. This is from Garrett's Workshop. It's the 4402B, and this is an 8 meg ROM for Mac 2 and SE30 series computers. But what makes this really special is that there are dip switches here, which allow you to configure things like the system. There is System 6 and System 7 pre-installed on here, so you can actually boot from here, and there are a bunch of utilities, including one that controls this ROM sim. All right, looking pretty good. Okay, new power supply is installed. I don't have any of the drives connected, so the only thing this has to boot from is that ROM sim. Let's give this a first power on and see what happens. Hey, it's alive! Okay, to boot this up off of the hard drive image on the ROM, we have to start it up and spam the R key immediately. There it is! And the ROM drive has helpful software installed, and you can actually customize this. And there is a ROM disk settings utility. Pre-selected here, mount ROM disk, which means once we hook up the actual hard drive, we'll still have access to the software here in the ROM disk. I'm going to reconnect our hard drive, make sure we're booting from that, and then we will install that crazy accelerator. So this upgrade card is based on an interwear booster, and there are a lot of really nice things about it, but it doesn't require any special software. This is just plug and play, which means it'll even work under weird operating systems like Linux or AUX. The top has a pass-through, meaning we can still use our video card, and just how delightfully janky is this setup? So I'm going to plug it in without the FPU or the video card first, and we will boot this up and just make sure everything is working, and I guess get a quick benchmark. It's alive! And wow, this is already a night and day difference. Look how fast these window redraws are. Now there is a new version of this card which has a pre-soldered on FPU, but my card here was from, I think, the initial batch. So I had to source my own FPU. All right, just finishing up some benchmarks here after a successful boot into macOS 7.1 from the ROM disk. That is quite an improvement. On the stock machine, we got a CPU score of 0.26. On the accelerated Mac SE30 with FPU, we got 0.62. That is a wild difference, more than doubled. All right, let's get this thing all the way back together in battle station mode with the graphics card and see just how awesome this is going to be. All right, let's power on this glorious abomination. Ooh. Screen redraw is slightly confused. Yeah, sorry for the rolling bar over here, but I have 3 different refresh rates going on, so this is as good as I could get it. But look, the dream is alive. Can go to the screen over here, and then drag all the way across to the screen over here. That is freaking awesome. Oh my goodness. A triple head SE30 setup. Perfect for developing. Well, mostly. And for development, like a real professional, we are using Real Basic 2.1.2. I've got my good old Squirrel Simulator open here, and just look how good this is. We can drag all these gigantic windows out of here and put them somewhere. Doesn't like to draw that window. Oh, well, that's a quirk of the SCSI video card. I guess we can't put that window here. But surely we can put code windows over there, which is the whole point of doing this. Well, it's not perfect, but it does work. I can edit the code over here. Yeah, look at this. Okay, I am happy with that. We can do all of our silly, ridiculous, basic coding over here with our main windows over on this screen, and then we can test our applications on the 1-bit black and white SE30 display. All right, let's fix this button bug here. For whatever reason, System 7 does not like to render the gray background of these buttons, so I am just going to make the background solid white. Oh yeah, look at that, we fixed it. Forge button is now visible. I'm a programmer. Good old Photoshop 4, back when Adobe wasn't yet a nightmare. Alright, well, this is pretty darn sweet, but it's also pretty darn glitchy. And I was doing some experiments, and without this display and the Super Mac SuperView, there are no window redraw glitches on this main screen. It's only when I have all of this going at the same time. Can you believe that classic macOS didn't anticipate this kind of jank? Yeah, check it out. When we take the Super Mac SuperView out of the equation, not only is it super smooth, but it's also a heck of a lot faster, and there are none of the window redraw issues. Look at that. Oh, it's so much faster. I wonder why that SCSI external video card slows the whole system down like this. I mean, I guess it has something to do with sending video over the SCSI bus, which is not what the SCSI bus was ever intended for. But hey, who uses things for what they were intended for? Certainly not me. Okay, so I'm kind of conflicted here. On one hand, the accelerator was a huge success. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure this Supermac SuperView was intended more for stuff like projectors and not dedicated portrait mode coding monitors. So I think it might be time to revisit some of the other 68K Macs that I have collecting dust around the basement, because some of them might make good coding machines, and they could take multiple real video cards. Oh, and that Squirrel Simulator game, I think I'm going to make that available on my Patreon, which, by the way, has a free tier. So if you're interested in checking that out, go to my Patreon, patreon.com/actionretro. Once I get that game into more of a working state, I'll put it up there for download. In any event, that'll do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more shenanigans like this, please subscribe down below. And thank you very much for watching. And a special thanks to Alex Hoffman, Andrew Nicholson, April White, Chris Biggs, Chris Calderon, Chris Nelson, Control-Alt-Reese, Drew Hamlin, Frodo Jedi, Gaspar Heller, George Rosansky, Graham, Greg from Hrut King Mods, James Fryman, James Laurie, Jason Papaz, Jason Ezel, Camille Rakowski, Lyle Truid, Matthew Crowell, Nick Daniels, Paul Spencer, Ryan, Scott Cedarbaum, Scott Thompson, Tom Woodfin, Unknown Soldier 41, Veronica Explains, and Xantronics Industrial, who are my highest tiered patrons and all of my Patreon supporters for helping to make these videos possible.